welcome to episode number 3 of the Blue Sweater podcast. If you're still not aware of why it's called Blue Sweater, go find episode 0.2. That's not true, it's 0.1. The first one was 0. Yes! So 0.1 explains why it's called the Blue Sweater and what we're doing here. Today is Thursday, April 15th, and we are with Trenton Carson. Trenton, how are you?
I am doing well. Yourself?
Oh, well, thanks for asking. I think I'm good. I think I'm very good. What I want to start out with is, who is Trenton Carson?
Okay. There's always two sides. Who is Trenton Carson as the business owner, or who is Trenton Carson as the person?
That's fair. Okay. Are you going to answer both?
Yeah, I can answer both. So Trenton Carson as the business owner is a video content creator. We partner and work with marketing teams to execute marketing strategies through video. We focus on the big three in video marketing is branding, marketing, and testimonial videos. And the reason why we focus on the big three is branding is who you are, marketing is what you do, and testimonials is who you serve. And that's how we encompass what we do in video. Now,
I like it.
Trenton Carson as a person is different than he is as a business owner. As a business owner, I am supposed to be stern. I'm supposed to be knowledgeable. As a person, I am just here, just going through life, just living it. I am, a son. I'm a father of two. I am an avid Chicago sports fan. So the Blackhawks, the White Sox, the Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Bears, those are my teams. Every time they come down to Atlanta, I make sure I go to a game and watch. And outside of that, I am usually inside sleeping because the other trend is working all the time.
Yep, absolutely. So that's interesting. On the Chicago, give me the background of why a Chicago fan.
Oh, because I am from Chicago area.
Okay.
So that's all you grew up with. And I used to tell, here's a crazy part. I used to tell people when I got down here, you always hear about, SEC this and SEC that. And I was like, what is the SEC? Because up there is Big Ten country. And it was like, what is the Big Ten? I was like, well, think of the SEC, but in Midwest, because I hear nothing, maybe in Alabama, but that's it. I hear nothing about it. And so my first time moving down here, I was driving and I keep seeing these big letter G's. I was like, why is there so many Green Bay Packer fans down here? And then it was like red and black. I was like, it must be a Southern thing. It's right. Inverted. Yeah, it's like it must be inverted. Why are they doing that? And then somebody told me, oh no, that for Georgia. I was like, Georgia what? They said, no, the University. I was like, oh, that's why. I was like, it was just so perplexing. I was like, why so many Green Bay Packer fans down here? I was like, maybe I should leave.
The G's do look very similar, short of the colors. So when did the move happen from Chicago?
So the move happened around 2011. And one of the main reasons why, so prior to, we want to back it up and go a little back into my history, is that, I went to school in Southern Illinois, which is 5 hours from the Chicago area. And it was great because that's the furthest you can go without going out of state. So I had my separation and still have in-state fees, tuition, but I graduated with a bachelor's degree in cinematography. And immediately after graduating, because we have a great program, and plus I was very astute in my major, not in college, but in my major, that immediately afterwards, I already had a job working in Hollywood. So I was working in Hollywood for a while, building up contacts and whatnot. And Hollywood is nice. The first thing is, I'm from the Midwest, so we don't have oceans, we have lakes. Well, lakes are fresh water. Well, I assumed everything was fresh water. So the first thing I jumped in, I was like, this is the saltiest thing ever. Yep. So you can see I am naive when it comes to the outside world, outside the Midwest. But I was building my contacts up there. I was working really well. And one of the things that drove me back to Illinois was the fact I was on set and I had a conversation with my director and my producer was there at the time.
Mhm.
And we was 10 hours in, which is a normal day. They said, I hope this stuff wraps soon because I have to go home because my roommate forgot the key in. And I was like, your roommate? You're like 55. And he was like, yeah, this is Hollywood. You work till you die. You don't it's expensive out here. So we all of us have roommates.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do that. And so I end up going back to Illinois. This is now I'm outside of St. Louis, but on the Illinois side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working at a television station. But all the while I'm working at the television station, I still have friends and contacts in LA. And so what they was telling me was, they was like, hey, Trenton, you might want to get to this place called Atlanta, Georgia. They're building stuff out there.
Yeah.
We have our location scouters. We have our producers. And some of them are actually staying out there. Since you're a lot closer to there than we are, you might want to check it out. So I was like, I don't even know. I know of Atlanta because of the sports team. I don't know where Georgia is. So I was like, how close is it? And then I went up, started trying to research it, called my professors. I said, have you heard of this place called Georgia? They got the city called Atlanta, and they're supposed to be doing something. They're like, yeah, they're building infrastructure out there. They're starting to film out there. So this is around like 2010. They're building stuff out there. You might want to get a jump on it. And so I'm reading more about it, listening more about it. And then one day, 2 weeks after my 26th birthday, I go to my director at the TV station. I said, hey, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. And it was like, why? Why are you doing that? You got another job, anything like that? I said, no, but I'm going to this place called Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm just going to see what it is out there. They was like, well, do you have any family out there? I was like, no. You have a job lined up? I'm like, no. And they was like, well, why are you going out there? And I said, why not? I'm 26. I ain't got nothing tying me down. So that's how I made my trek down here.
Nice. So you mentioned going to college, majoring in cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
Why? So what led to you going into cinematography for college? Where did that interest in it begin?
So I think one of the things, I think it was a fortunate situation I was in. I was around 15. And I was in my African American Studies class, and we had the research colleges. But around that time, when I was 15, the movie The Matrix came out, and it was mind blowing. People just freezing the air and all that, dodging bullets. And I was like, this is amazing. I really want to do this. But at the same time, while we were researching colleges, I decided I'm just going to research Southern Illinois. Well, while I'm researching Southern Illinois, I come to find out they're a top 10 in film. So they're for film school. So I was like, okay, I'm reading up on this while I'm watching my, this movie that's mind-boggling. And so I was like, I want to get more into it. So I started reading up on cinematography, learning about the school. And then 2 years later, 17 going my senior year, I went ahead and applied to film school and I got in.
Nice. The Matrix was a big one. I remember watching documentaries about how they did certain scenes in that, and it is truly fascinating. So I like that. So that's the beginning of that thought process, which worked out well for the state you lived in, the college you researched, went out to California, came back to Illinois, now moved down to Atlanta. Now, so when you move to Atlanta without a job, when did TC Productions, your company, come into play? Was that immediate? How did that play out?
Well, I was used to, when I was working in LA, it's a professional freelancer gig. When you work on a movie set or on a project, you don't work for that studio. You work for that movie. And so it might be produced by Sony, MGM, all that stuff, but they're not your employers. And then it goes down to whoever producing that project, whoever's the director of that project, and whoever the production manager of that project. He picks the team. He or she picks the team. But you work for that project. So when that project is about wrapping up, you're unemployed again until you get on another movie project. And so when I moved down here, I was fortunate we had a very good alumni base. So I called them up and said, hey, I'm moving down to Atlanta. What can I start looking into? So my first project that I was going to work on was this movie called Neighborhood Watch down here. I was going to be on the second editing crew for the night crew, and I got my editing bay. I was getting ready to sit down and stuff, and the producer was like, "No, we don't need you anymore." I said, "Why not?" Or the director feels comfortable by bringing their own editing team, so they're going to fly them out from LA. And I wasn't heartbroken about it because that's what they do. You will go with things that you're used to, and so. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't want to be a professional freelancer out there, and I sure can't be one here, especially with no money, no family, anything like that. And so I got here in 2011, August 2011, January 2012. That's when I formed TC Productions.
Okay, all right. So that's just a few months later. So was TC Productions originally created as a company face to you being contracted out to movies anyway, or was it created for you to strictly, okay, I'm going to focus on corporations, businesses, entrepreneur? What was your thought process in what TC Productions would become when you created it?
Well, when I first created it, it was a means to have some type of control. When you're out there looking for helping on projects, you're at the mercy of other people, rating your talents. I was like, okay, if I own my own company, at least I can either work who I want to work with or try to choose projects, And as anybody that's going into a business, you knew how naive I was in thinking that process. And so the thing when I first started out, was I was doing like music videos, club videos, entertainment stuff, because they are very, very, creative people. And so we was doing that. But in the music video industry, you're working with unsigned artists, you're working with indie artists and all that. And so it's always feast or famine. So either you're making it really big or you have to do almost like 20 videos at a time just to make a profit. And so I started out doing that. And then, like I said, it was fun, but your typical day starts at 6 p.m. because you got to stay out late for the clubs, or all the artists, they do their stuff around that time. So you work from like 6 p.m. to 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And then you might have to find some time to edit and whatnot. And so it was exciting because, you get backstage passes, everything, or you just follow the entourage for all this other stuff going on, but it gets tiresome and you don't make any money. You just make enough to pay your bills. And so, say whatever, your bills were at that month, I made it. And as soon as you make it, you start back over again. And
absolutely.
You keep building back up.
Yep.
And so I did that for a couple years, and I was like, I cannot do this. So after that, that's when I started looking into the business side of it. I'm doing business videos because that's when I saw a gap in it. I saw all the business videos, majority of business videos I was seeing, they were all the same. They don't talk to people, they talk at people. Yes. And so there was no creativity. It's just feeding off what the last person did and just saying, I'm going to duplicate it. So you wasn't bringing people in. You were just having a platform, say what I got to say, get off, and just putting any old thing out there. The thing that I missed on the music side was they was very creative. They didn't have any money. On the business side, they got money, but they ain't creative. So, naturally, you go where the money's at. And so that's when we start switching operations and doing a lot of stuff on the business side.
So now that we've moved into the business side of that, is there a vision in your head of with who TC Productions is right now and what the ideal client looks like?
Well, it switched. Well, naturally, it evolved from many different forms. First, it wanted to help out, the entrepreneurs, the startups. Then it wanted to handle the solopreneurs. Then I wanted to work with the businesses, small businesses. But every time we got to a new level, we plateaued with the type of client that we was working with. And so now we're mainly working with medium-sized businesses, corporations, and pretty much C-suite marketing teams. And so we just go in and execute. So that's where we at right now. is working with those type of teams. So if we're working with a company, they're most likely going to have either a marketing manager, department coordinator,
Yeah.
director, and we're fitting in as a tool in their marketing strategy. Before, we had to come up with the entire marketing strategy and then use it for video, and it was just overwhelming because either they were not ready for the level of video we was providing, or they were just overwhelmed with the fact that, okay, once I got the video, oh, now I got to post it, now I got to share this, now I got to do this. And they didn't have the bandwidth to do that. Now when we're over here working with a larger scale clients, or they say, hey, we already did the marketing campaign. We just need the video.
Yeah.
So here's the specs. You create the video, we plug it into our system, and we're good to go. And we've been very successful in that lane.
Nice. So where does your company fall in the spectrum of, all right, we have medium to large businesses that we work with. In that spectrum of, okay, on this side, we're in the discussion from the beginning, from concept to execution. On the other side of it, where you come in, the concept's done, and all you have to do is turn the cameras on, essentially. So where do most of your clients fall in that, one? And two, what is your preference on where your company falls in that spectrum?
Our company falls in on the latter. They usually they don't have necessarily, we go in and we turn the camera on, but they have already done all the strategy. They coming in with our ideas and our creation, and we're going to execute. And so if you're looking at it as like you're preparing food, all right, so you can come in the beginning, we had to make the list, we had to go shopping for the items, we had to bring it to the table. Now when we're coming in, the items are already here. Here's the menu. Now cook it and prepare it. So that's where we at.
I like it. I like it a lot. So we were, of course, as usual, we talked a little bit before scheduling this recording. I did make it. I'm looking down at my notes. I wrote down a phrase, documentation versus creation. And I don't know if that falls into what you're talking about now. All I know is I wrote the phrase down because you said it when we were talking before. So remind me of where that phrase came from.
So when you're thinking about video, especially if it's a smaller business or if you just haven't done any video before, you clump everything into video, the title video. And so oftentimes we have to break it down. They say, oh, I have this event, or I have this birthday party, or I have this family reunion, or I have this wedding. You do video, can't you just show up and do that? Can you just do that? And I was like, no, there's two different dynamics that go into it. And so we're on to content creation side. And when you're doing live events, you're pretty much documenting. And what we mean by that is you don't really dictate what's going on. You just record what's happening. You might can chop it up later to edit it, but whatever's going on in place, you're just there to follow it.
Okay.
On the creation side, I make it happen. And so you're saying what I want you to say. You're doing what I want you to do. We script out and make storyboards on what we want to see, what kind of feeling we want to invoke, and then we piece it together and make a video. And so that's the main difference.
Got it. Makes perfect sense. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's April 15th, 2021. We are now decently past a year of COVID coming into the life of everyone on the planet. What has shifted for you and your business since just over a year ago?
Well, in the beginning, with COVID for everybody, it sucked because it was unknown. We didn't know how to react in it. But as it gradually, went on, it became a blessing for our business. Despite what's going on in the world, and we don't want the deaths, we don't want the sickness, but in our world, it became a blessing, especially for our business, because we've been preaching for years and years. Hey, you got to have a online brand that matches your real world brand. As much as you network and you do referrals and you do word of mouth, you have to do the same for online. Well, when you didn't have to go online, it would fall on deaf ears. Or if you were on a smaller business and you couldn't afford to do both, you do the one that's more in person. Well, what happened when you took that away? Now you was forced to be online. And what we saw was the businesses that already had a digital presence and an online presence, they succeeded and they got through it. The businesses that didn't closed up their doors. And so that's what we was preaching and saying, hey, this is what you need to go forth. And it's like they wasn't listening until something made them listen. And then they figured out how important having an online presence was when that's the only thing you can use. And what came big for us is when everybody was Zooming 7 times a day, almost 7 days a week, you understood that video wasn't that bad. It doesn't hurt to get in front of people,
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And so, and it really helped us out was now that, when you can no longer get in front of people face to face, what's the next best thing? And that was video. You can still see people in their eye. You just at the comfort of your own home.
That's really interesting because what popped into my head when you're talking about that is, and I didn't even consider that, the fact, and I guess that's kind of what we're doing now with this podcast is we're going to network this way now, not just me and you, but when this gets out there, other people are going to watch it and not necessarily get to know you in person, but begin to know who you are and what you do. With that, the videos that you and your company are creating, what is the most common thing your business clients do with the videos you all are creating for them? Like, is it more social media? Is it website? I don't know. I'm just like, end product, what are the businesses doing with it?
Well, before I even get into that, another thing that really helped out, and I guess, that we noticed with having these videos and the stuff that I kept trying to explain was Chris, in the last year, many of my clients haven't seen me face to face, but they saw me every week. Yeah. And so they felt like they were on the journey with me. They knew who I was because they saw me all the time. That's what we were talking about with digital branding and with video. And now with Zoom, you're still seeing me constantly without physically seeing me. And so now with what we're doing with our clients and what they're usually looking for, yes, some are looking for online awareness. Some just putting on their social media. Sometimes we'll shoot commercials that's going to be put on TV for them. It's usually what the client is asking for. That's what we're going to create, and knowing what we're creating going into it really helps out. So some of them they might have, hey, I have for this quarter, I have this certain marketing strategy and we want to get out in front of X amount of people. We want to highlight this. Or for another company, we have this new product and this new service. I need to tell more people about it. And so those are the stuff that we're going to create. Because if you think about it, over the last 4 or 5 years, if you sit down and think about it, how did you discover a new product, service, or a business? Yeah. It was most likely with a video. Yeah. And then once you discovered that product, service, or business, how did you learn how to use it? It was with a follow-up video. Yep. And then how did you know somebody else like it? Because somebody else made a video about it. That's right. So you start to see the trend, and those companies and those industries that picked up on that used that, and they momentum skyrocketed. Other ones that didn't, well, they talk bad about it. And it's just so saying that we go about, there's only 2 things you can do with technology. You can use it or complain about it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I do both. But yes, absolutely. Now, what about location based? So you mentioned Atlanta, right? So part of us connecting, we connected on LinkedIn. We didn't know each other, and you agreed to do this. I'm very grateful for it. What about location? You're located in Atlanta. I want to make sure that those that are listening are like, okay, I want your help. I need your help. Yes, we will put his email address, website, Facebook, LinkedIn. We'll put all the necessary information so you can reach out to Trenton and get done what you need to get done. What about area? Are you strictly in Atlanta, or geographically, where are you going?
Well, we're in the metro Atlanta area, so we'll go as far as about maybe 20, 30 miles out in each direction.
Hmm.
But the thing is you're not, unless you really want us to come out there, you're probably just going to find another company in your area to
Hmm.
help you out, video wise. Now you can bring us, but you understand you're bringing a video production company,
Yeah.
and so that means it's going to you. If you want to, you can pay for 5, 6, 8 people to either fly or drive out there to shoot your video, or we can consult, and then you can take the knowledge and go to a local video team over there and have it produced. So you usually
Nice.
stick in the area where we at because, I mean, if you want to give us the money, we'll take it. But you're kind of going to be spending extra money just to have us come out there when it's probably another production company that's probably going to be closer to your area.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So, if you're okay with it, I want to shift over into more about you before we close this out.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, just so everyone listening knows, you have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Yes.
And can I just say, we've been recording for roughly half an hour, and I think it's going well.
Ooh, let's not jinx it.
I may have, I halfway hope I have, just because it would be enjoyable. Now, to begin closing out, 3 questions I always like to ask.
Mm-hmm.
First of which is, do you have a favorite movie?
Oh man. Besides the Matrix that got me into this whole
I wondered
situation,
if that was good. Yeah.
but outside of that, it's just so hard to have a favorite movie because I'm usually watching movie 2 ways. I'm watching it as for entertainment, or I'm watching it as a cinematographer.
That's fair.
And so,
Yeah.
what all we did in college, we sat and watched movies every single day, but we had to dissect them.
Yeah.
And movies become very boring when you dissect them. Yeah, so when you learn how to turn that off, and then you can start enjoying it, but you don't truly enjoy it. If you were a world-class taste tester, food tastes different to you than when you're me, when I just want to eat,
Yeah.
just for comfort. You're picking up different things, and you're like, well, the chicken was okay, but it was a little tough on this. I'm like, no, give me more because it's great.
That's
And
right.
so when I'm watching movies, I'm like, yeah, okay, I like this. I can get lost in it. Oh, that was a bad edit. I know what he was doing with that, or that frame was off. Looking at that, I think it was one of the Star Wars shows online when you saw the guy in the background with his blue jeans on. You pick up stuff on that, and so it's just hard to pick out a favorite movie based on, because I ain't usually either dissecting it or I'm just trying to do it for trying to turn everything off for pure enjoyment. But I mean, any movie, unless it's horribly bad, I'm probably going to enjoy it for the most part.
So that's
Take it on with me.
That's kind of where I want to go off on a tangent on that one. Actually, a couple of them. One, clearly I missed something. What Star Wars movie is there a guy in the background in jeans?
Oh, The Mandalorian. So if you so it's not the movie, it's the show, The Mandalorian.
Gotcha.
And it's one of the episodes, and you can probably Google it. They was shooting, and it opened the door, and it was a guy, one of the extras, just sitting back, and he just got caught on frame.
Yeah.
And so he's just back there sitting in his blue jeans, and they made mock action figures of it, saying, "Hey, blue jean guy, come buy this."
I will say, is there a slight chance it was on purpose?
Yes and no. It could be because we always, all of us directors, we like to put little Easter eggs in all our projects. And so I have this one project. I'm not going to tell you the name of it because then they're going to find out. And so it's this one, it's actually this TV commercial that I shot that for like a split second, I'm in it. And I'm looking at the camera and it cuts away. And so you won't notice until I point it out, but I know exactly where it's at. And I tickle myself to death every time I watch it because I know where I'm at in there. And I was telling my crew, I said, watch this, and watch it. They're like, is that you in there? I was like, yep, plug it in there. So it could have been on purpose. It could have been on accident. Sometimes when you're editing, and you're watching the same thing, you know, 50
Yeah,
some times, you lose track of certain things. Usually
absolutely.
they have a senior editor and a junior editor, and sometimes, you know, during the dailies and all this stuff, you forget, you miss
Yeah.
stuff. So you just hope the audience miss it too.
Yep. So the other tangent I wanted to go on with the favorite movie is, since you sometimes watch movies with that mindset of who you are and what you do, what is a movie that either you just didn't make it through it, or there was so much wrong with it? I want to know what the worst movie, technically or story wise, you've ever seen.
Ooh, oh man. Uh, let's see. Cause it was so usually they so bad you don't remember. I know I watched The Room, and that's so it's so bad it's good. That's what that movie is. So I watched The Room and I watched the remake of The Room, and that is god awful, but it's so bad that you can't stop watching it. So I don't know. Is that a bad movie? I've seen some movies
Huh.
where, you know, like the acting is either over the top or they
Yep.
don't know where the mic placement's at, and sometimes, you know, I just can't watch it. But it's usually one of those, you know, made what straight to film or straight to DVD
Oh
movies or
yeah.
straight to TV movies
Yep.
that I can't watch.
Yep.
You pick up on certain things, you know, like all the like Lifetime movies. You already know the story of it, you know, before they start, or
Agreed.
the Hallmark movies. You already know where this is going just by reading the
Yep.
title. So you pick up on certain things, but I haven't had a movie that was so bad that I walked out. If I'm at home watching TV, I might flip through a couple, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that terrible that I'm like, my goodness, I'm finna go look up the cast, find out who the director is, and go protest outside their building.
I like it. So next, is there a book you're currently reading?
Oh man, asking a video guy is do he read the books? Not, I don't read it too often. I pick up business books here and there for
Yeah.
education. I might, but I'm usually getting a lot of my information online through the form of video.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff now. If I'm reading a book just to be, you know, just for escapism, and I'm really doing that because I'm like, there's probably a movie version of it that I can just go ahead and watch. But I'm not reading too many books. I would pick up a book. It's just purely for education, and at this stage, it's usually about business,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing I'm reading about on. Anything outside of that is usually video games and movies.
Yep. Yep. I understand. Last question,
Hmm.
unless we come up with another one, which is fine. What do you want to do when you grow up?
That's such a hard question because I'm already doing it. You know, it's to the point where I've I've never had a corporate job.
Yeah.
I Anything I've ever done has always been around video, and then to own your own company doing it. I mean, I don't know what else I would do when I grow up.
Yeah.
I do know, and here's probably the conundrum. I do what I love, but I still don't like work. So I could see me retiring. Yes, like I will hopefully retire when I'm 45. But I know I'm gonna always be surrounded by something in the video industry, in the
Yeah.
movie industry, and that one. So my whole thing is I want the option to retire at 45, but you never this is not one of those, you know, labor intensive jobs. You know, when you're on set, yes, you're moving around, but you
Yeah.
mainly envisioning things and creating things. So you don't really turn that off, you know.
Mhm.
So it's not like I'm doing, you know, any totally backbreaking work. Like I'm not doing any stunt work or anything. So where you have to stop,
Yeah.
but I'm doing work where it's always involved with the mind. So long as the mind is intact, you're
Mm.
always going to be daydreaming. You're always going to be thinking of different
Love
shots or
that.
creating different movies. So
Yeah.
I won't I don't want to work forever, but growing up, this is my dream job and I'm already doing it.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, before we close it out, any thoughts you had? Anything else you wanted to touch on? I think it's fantastic.
Well, any thoughts is that if you're one of those businesses that's still thinking about, should I have video?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes. The pandemic told you yes. The fact that the whole world stopped and told you yes, you should do it. And the hardest part about doing video for your business is starting. You have to get out your own head, because
Absolutely. It's a great point.
the way the world sees you is not the way you see yourself. And the way I mean it by that way is, think about when you wake up in the morning and you go to the mirror. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you have some type of scowl on your face. You're not ever smiling. And so you assume everybody sees that scowl when you walk out to the world. So you're like, nobody want to see that.
Yeah.
I can't get in front of the camera. But 80 to 90% of your interaction in the real world is you smiling. You're happy in all your interactions. And that's what people see. And that's what they want to continue seeing. And so if you get past that, you're going to find out being in front of videos is quite pleasant. Actually, this being in front of video for me and for my business actually been a cheat code, because while me and you over here talking about video, somebody's online looking at my video and somebody's learning from my other videos. And so I'm staying in front of people, without actually being in front of people. So I can, in actuality, I can be in more places than one.
Yeah, I love that point.
Without extra effort.
Yeah, I absolutely love that point. And that just hit me the other day, because this is episode number 3, right? So there's only been 2 other ones so far. It hit me the other day that essentially all I did was connect with some people, hit record, talk to them, learn about each other, hit stop, do a little bit of editing, but it stays online and you're in multiple places talking to multiple people at the same time, all the time. That is a just truly fantastic point.
Yes. And one more tip I want to say. Another reason why you should have video for your business is that no matter if it's for 3 seconds, 30 seconds, or 3 minutes, when they're watching your video, you own that mental real estate. And they're thinking about nothing but either how to use you, how to work with you, or what you're saying. And you want to own that.
I like it. Trenton, I truly appreciate it. We will connect soon. We need to work together. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate the connection. You did reach out first, and you responded when I reached back out to you. And I truly appreciate it. We will put his contact information, his business information, in the description of this video. Once again, Trenton, thank you. Everyone else, we appreciate your time. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.